Welcome to our Summer SIAL Special bonus episodes of the Food Professor Podcast, presented by Caddle.
As the official podcast for the SIAL Food Innovation Show this year in Montreal, Sylvain and I had the opportunity to interview the leading thought leaders, brands, and makers in the food industry. As the saying goes, these are their stories.
Stay tuned for Season 5 of the Food Professor Podcast, debuting August 29th. We'll be back on the mic together, live with our particular brand of truth, insight, interviews, custom research from our friends at Caddle, and yes, a little bit of fun. On this episode, meet Guillermo Anderson, COO for St. Brigid's Creamery, maker of fantastic bespoke butter right from grass-fed Jersey cows. And you all know how much I like my butter and Buttergate.
Guillermo, welcome to the Food Professor Podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm excellent. Thanks very much for having me.
Fantastic. Well, you stopped by and you handed me some liquid gold in a cube.
Liquid gold.
Liquid gold. That's not the brand, but when I looked at this butter, I said, we got to talk to this gentleman and learn the story. So thanks for stopping by. Tell us who you are, what you do for a living.
So my name is Guillermo Anderson. I love that I get to help farmer Bill Van Ness and Cindy Van Ness build their butter company called St. Brigid's Creamery. They have a very, seems to be working for now, which I love, kind of third-party model to their operation. So they rely on a number of professionals across the chain to help them in their efforts, and I love that I get to look after the operation and the marketing side of things, as well as customer service and everything else in between.
And what's your background? How did you get into this?
How long time you got?
Let's say we're on an elevator ride up to the 10th floor.
Right, exactly.
It's been
maybe 5th floor.
It's been a really nice, looking back at least, not quite the experience as I'm looking ahead, but yeah, it's been this beautiful scenic route to get to where I am. I worked in marketing and advertising for 7 years after graduating from McMaster, the Groot School of Business.
Because Brussels, Ontario is located where exactly?
The farm is located 2.5 hours west of Toronto.
Okay.
That's where the Van Ness raise and
so you went to McMaster and then you went to, are you from Brussels?
No, so
okay.
I'm born and raised in Caracas, Venezuela. I came here in 2000, finished high school, did my undergrad, and many things happened in the way. I've never lived in Brussels or outside of Brussels. We met, funnily enough, through a just happenstance. I bought a retired Jersey. I bought a cow that he was, getting rid of, that he was harvesting, that he was sending to the butchers. As part of this scenic route that I've taken, I trained as a butcher, whole animal butchery. And during COVID, I jumped at the opportunity to buy a retired dairy cow that I've never worked with, that I was really interested and curious about. And little did I know that he was in the process of either acquiring a company that was making a gorgeous butter, similar to this one, or setting up shop and starting his own. And so, right place, right time. I simply offered, with a lot of excitement, a lot of interest. I just offered if there was ever an opportunity for me to lend a hand in anything related to what he was doing. I saw how special his practice was, his management was. Having learned so much more about that, I was very fortunate to be able to be there to offer that help that he, took on, and we've been working together it's going to be 3 years now.
Great.
This June. We launched in June 2022. And then just to finish answering the question that you first asked, after marketing and advertising, I essentially spend the next 10 years in restaurants, cooking, serving.
Food. You're a veteran of the food industry.
That took me to butchery, that took me to market gardening, and then nice little round back to marketing.
Perfect.
St. Brigid's.
The product itself, tell us more about the butter.
Absolutely.
What's different? What's unique?
So in our supply managed context, this is a very unique, very special butter. Many people, the biggest compliment that people pay us, regardless of where they're from, it doesn't matter if they're from South America like I am, Eastern Europe, South Asia. What's really beautiful is in our diverse, fabric that is Canada. So many families, regardless of where they're from, they literally, after trying this butter, they say that this butter reminds them of the good stuff that they would have had back home in their childhoods, when they visited, when they've traveled.
I see it's grass-fed, for example. I guess
it's grass-fed.
That's a starting
point. And it's not just that. It's also the fact that it's a Jersey breed. It's a Jersey herd. And it's not just the breed, it's then how they are grass-fed, how they are.
Because that's a hard
raised.
Thing in Ontario, isn't
Very
it?
much so.
Because we got winter here. Like, that's what I hear from the industry. It's hard to have a big grass-fed industry here because it's hard to raise the animals and all that stuff. Yeah.
And the entire industry revolves around one breed, Holstein.
That's right.
So
less than 4% of Canadian dairies use a non-Holstein breed. So I love that.
Why is that, Sylvain? And Guillermo, is that because of cost efficiency or?
That's the belief. Yeah, that's the belief. And of course, the idea of behind supply management is to compensate farmers equally, fairly, and I want to emphasize on the word equally. So supply management, the legacy of supply management is to make farmers cost focus as much as possible. So if you know how much you're going to get every month, you want to bring down costs as much as possible.
Right.
And Holstein tends to cost
more
less to feed.
I see. Jersey costs more. Right, yeah. Right.
And, the Holstein essentially became the powerhouse of production. Also, it was very convenient that during those decades that we were very much against the idea of fat. And, we saw fat as being something that we wanted to avoid. And Holstein producing less components per kilo of milk.
And dairy genetics have always been focused on making a better Holstein. There's not much money thrown at jerseys. I can tell you that.
I loved learning that before supply management, the Jersey was called the Queen of Quality.
Yep.
So obviously we have this beautiful heritage and legacy of these breeds that just simply pack more protein, fat, and components per kilo of milk. And I love that Bill Van Ness has really made it his life's work to not just work with the breed, but then how he's managing that breed. So going back to grass-fed, absolutely. This is a new standard. It was only, I believe, instituted in 2021, I believe, where there was the standard was published. And grass-fed does not mean 100% grass. In our Canadian context, it's at least 70 to 75% grass, 25 to 30% grain. And as we know, based on what Sylvain was saying, farmers have been incented to just optimize production and leave it at that. It's fewer producers that are wanting to add value to that product, and so what we have here in this butter, I think, is a really nice moment of having a farmer that is really eager to showcase what this husbandry, this management, which is trying to look at more holistically what it can do. And so what we end up with is a butter that people, they remind them of the good butters from abroad.
Yeah. No palmitic acid, I would bet.
No, none of that stuff.
No.
And Buttergate was good to us. And I will say though, it's still
But your brand is basically special, not big. I mean, what kind of production do you like? How many? Help our listeners understand the scale of your business and like a lot of businesses come here, not all. I want to grow. I want to grow, going international. I want to scale. That may not be the case for all businesses. It may not be the case for your business.
Exactly. And obviously that does present a series of challenges that we will have to face because we're not aspiring to play that game the way we understand it needs to be played. And so, I couldn't really tell you what other big producers produce. I can tell you that we we're on our way to reach this herds capacity, and at which point we know where our ceiling is.
Okay. Can you share how many bars that? I don't want to ask you a proprietary question.
No, I don't. I could be mistaken, but I don't think that's proprietary. Yeah, I'd be so happy to share that in the first year, for example, we made, we sold around 8 pallets of butter, having made maybe 11 pallets. Okay. It's 130 cases per pallet, 25 bars per case.
And okay, that gives me a very good sense of scale. And if I was to buy your product, where typically would I find it?
So you're absolutely looking at the specialty retail category and that ecosystem of independence. We serve Whole Foods. We serve some of the Pattison Group banners from out west.
Yeah, I was just on a panel with Pattison Group actually. Yeah, they were talking about how they. I was asking them how they ingest innovation, and because they got multiple banners, some are more focused on. Yes, sir. And then if it works, Sylvain was really interesting, and Guillermo, he's talking. If it works at this level, at the smaller banner, there's the opportunity to escalate it all the way up to Save On Foods in the organic aisle. But you've got to hit a volume threshold that is different than the smaller banners.
And so, precisely because we are very much not vying to scale, or we cannot also scale the way many other producers here or manufacturers here would. What makes us special is what limits us, and I want to find a way to make that sustainable and to make that financially viable, and to make that something that we can then find efficiencies, and also that we still have an opportunity, which we're limited because of this third-party situation that we're in. This is not our own processing and manufacturing. We're limited in the value that we can add to, let's say, our skim milk or the buttermilk. And so there's, I think, these opportunities to rethink how a artisanal dairy producer, a manufacturer, marketer at least, can remain sustainable in our context. And I'm really excited that this butter is helping us do that.
What do you think of the color of that butter, Sylvain?
It's just
describe
stunning.
It to the listeners.
It's stunning. I got to tell you, as soon as you're expecting now, as a Canadian, you're trained to look at pale butter.
That's right. That's right.
Very light yellow.
That's right.
As soon as you open up the wrapping, you clearly see bright yellow. It really stands out. It just shocks you, really.
That's
so
right.
What's behind that?
What's happening there?
Yeah.
So you have to give it up to the mighty Jersey, that beautiful thing that produces almost 30% less milk than the powerhouse that is the Holstein. She packs, whereas a Holstein can produce 3 to 4% butterfat per kilo of milk, Jersey can hit 5.5, even high 5s sometimes. And in that fat is where they pass on the beta-carotene. And that beta-carotene comes from the grass that they absorb. So, for example, one of my favorite anecdotes is that I came across a piece of butter that a competitor made in September. A grass-fed competitor made in September. And you would think that a September grass-fed product from a properly grass-fed operation would be as yellow as ours. I compared that against my April piece of butter. April, it's been at least 5-6 months since the cows had any grass. And why was it that my April butter was more yellow than their September butter? So, yeah, you have to absolutely give it up to the Jersey for that. But then it's management. The Jersey alone doesn't do it, but with a manager, with an owner like Bill, who ensures that the Jersey can be out from the time of when the dandelions come out, is when the time that the cows go out in May until October, November.
Not a bad year this year, actually.
Not a bad year. It was an earlier.
Right?
I will share videos of this beautiful day that we had on May 4th when the cows first went out on grass.
Star Wars fans, no doubt, right?
It was the spring frolic.
May the fourth be with you.
It was with them. It was with us. It was beautiful.
So we have to connect this brand to Uncle Bob's popcorn.
I think we should.
Like the brilliant white bespoke popcorn that I now enjoy.
Okay.
Just cries out for your product.
It would be a good marriage.
So where are they?
They're in your part of the world, actually.
Amazing.
They're in part. We're going to connect. We're going to connect those dots because it's a marriage made in in heaven.
Yes.
Sylvain, bring us home.
Listen, thank you so much for joining us today on the Food Professor podcast. I do think that Canadians underappreciate high quality butter because we're trained to really accept what we get at the grocery store without recognizing that there are lots of choices out there, and that's the one choice. You bring more choice, quality choice to the table. So thank you so much for the work you do.
It's not my work, it's the work of Bill and those who are really pushing to elevate our already amazing dairy product. And just, if I may, on the training, you have to see a kid go, eat this butter, enjoy this butter. So I love that despite what's available on the shelf, they absolutely
recognize.
It has not gone past our programming to enjoy what's better for us. So that yellow, that naturally occurring yellow, is something that I hope we never forget, regardless of what is available on a shelf.
Well, thank you. Thanks again for stopping in at SIAL at our continued success. And let's keep in touch, and we're going to connect you with Uncle Bob. So there you go.
Let there be popcorn.
Good idea.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to our Summer SIAL bonus interview series. Michael and I will be back live on the microphone together in late August. I'm the food professor, Sylvain Charlebois.
And I'm Michael LeBlanc, media entrepreneur, consumer growth consultant, and keynote speaker. Safe travels, everyone. See you back in August.
Take care.